Good day, shipmates. My name is Nate Jones. This happens to be episode 4. I want to talk to you about what a bigger boat looks like for me. Right now, as you know, I'm on a raft. I'm trying to secure myself on a raft. Let me clarify this raft that I'm now on. I found me a room where I rent for £480 a month. Sorry, not 400, it's £280 a month. And my take-home pay each week is roughly about 200 and roughly about 335. So that deceived me into thinking that I was living comfortable. But after this past year has gone by, that was a misnomer, because when I look at the bottom line in terms of what it costs me to get to work each week, what it costs me to eat, and what it costs me to keep up with the rigors of trading time for dollars, that figure is a whole lot more than what I was led to believe by my own self. That's the reason why I'm electing to talk with you guys, because some thoughts seem good to yourself, but when you talk in the midst of other people, it makes you think twice, and it makes you think 3 and 4 times to make sure that what you're saying is correct. So anyway, that figure has to be revised. So my lifestyle really is 280 for the rent, of course, which takes care of my lights and my cable and all the essentials in terms of my living. And then, of course, I believe that 280 for food. Not that I would eat that much, but I think that it'll be reasonable for me to think that 280 pounds should be set aside for food, to make sure that I'm eating healthy, and make sure that I'm getting all the nutrients and things that I need. And then, of course, another 280 for miscellaneous expenses, whether it's repairing broken stuff, or getting the necessary things to be comfortable, or if it's sending money, or if it's helping, and so on and so forth. So roughly I'm looking at 840 a month, and it is my understanding that I should be making 840 a week, to live comfortable. And and if I calculate all of that, in a given month, you times your 840 by 4.33, it comes out to be about 3,637 pounds. It's what I should be earning a month, and I'm not making nowhere near that, But that's life on a raft for me, a raft with sides, of course. So I'm literally talking now on a bigger boat. So what does a bigger boat look like to me? If this is a raft, what would a bigger boat look like for me? It's what I really want to get around to talking to you about. Well, when I look back on my life in terms of when I had it, better. I remember I was living in Huntsville, Alabama, and I had a house. I think it was around about 4,000 square feet. I was paying $1,200 a month for the mortgage payment, because I was renting to own from a Jew. Yeah. And so, $1,200 a month was what I was paying for rent. And if I do my calculations in terms of that, so if I say $1,200 a month for rent and $1,200, for food for a large family, and then if I put another $1,200 on top of that for miscellaneous expenses and so forth, that brings me to about $3,600. And as I just told you, it was my understanding that, my income should be at least $3,600 a week in order for me to live comfortable in that setting. So the bigger boat that I'm looking at is to be able to repeat, as it were, that sum. Yeah, so roughly 3,600 a week times 4.33 weeks in a month brings me to about 15,588 pounds a month. If I do that times 12 months, it brings me to 187,056 pounds a year. But I want to do something a little bit more dramatic with this sum of money. I want to go back to 1995. And I want to pay myself each year 187,056 pounds from 1995 to 2022. It's 27 years. So a bigger boat for me is 5,050,512 pounds. Now, this figure might seem overwhelming. It's not overwhelming to me. Remember, this 5,050,512 pounds is going to come out of 25% from the business. If I do my calculations correctly, well, it doesn't really make sense to me to do any type of calculations right now because, this 5,050,512 pounds only represents a segment of that 25%. Because I want to put this money somewhere in my budget. So it can't represent the whole 25% because it's only a portion of that 25%. Because remember, I'm going to be paying tithes and offerings out of my 25%. I'm going to have an investment portfolio out of that 25%. And so on and so forth. So that 5 million is only a portion of the 25%. And I would expound on that as I go along. You'll be able to read in my comment section in terms of, what is my proposal for this 5,050,512 pounds and where it's going to be niched from the 25%. What am I saying in essence? On this episode 4, the bigger boat from the raft that I'm now on is compensation or compensating myself for the lifestyle that I had once upon a time. And I only had that lifestyle for a short space of time because the gentleman that I was literally buying the house from, he died. And of course, when he died, the family squabbles over the house, and they ended up taking the house from me because they needed to pay debts back from what he incurred, and it was a giant mess, to say the least. But I never really forgot the house. It was such a blessing to have, and the gentleman was, I was working for him, and as a result of working for him, I was able to acquire 2 cars from him. I was able to acquire the house from him, and it was a wonderful relationship. But as with all things, things don't always work out. So I ended up losing the cars and the house because of the family squabbles and so on and so forth. I'm not actually bitter about that. I'm just actually thankful that I had that opportunity, and that house is such a sweet thing to have. Yeah. So because that was a highlight in my life, I want to use it as a platform in terms of striving for the better. So I take into consideration that lifestyle, which again, like I said, my rent or mortgage at the time was $1,200 a month. So that means that if I turn around and times that by 3, that gives me the drop monthly income. And of course, if I do correctly, I believe that a weekly wage should be able to take care of your monthly expenses. So in this case, if it's $3,600 a month, then my income should be $3,600 a week. And if it's $3,600 a week, you times it by 4.33, which gives you your monthly income. And then if I turn around and times that by 12 months in a year, that gives me my yearly income. And of course, the yearly income is $187,056. And in this case, I want to retro pay myself from 1995, giving me a grand total of £5,050,512. Now, that sounds like a lot of money, especially if it's not representing the whole of my money, but just a portion. That's what the bigger boat looks like to me. It's not the biggest boat. It's just a step up from where I am now. And where I am now is I'm still underwater, as it were, because I'm on a raft, and I'm not making nowhere near what my lifestyle requires. My lifestyle right now is 840 pounds a month. If I'm honest with myself, right now it's iffy about that, but to be honest with myself and to be honest with you, my rent right now is $280 a month. And to be honest, I believe that that much should be at least put aside for food. Not that I would actually eat that much, but to be comfortable, I need to set aside that amount. And then finally, the miscellaneous expenses should be about 280 pounds a month as well, and it's set aside. So that gives me a grand scale of a lifestyle of 840. And I believe that I need to strive to make that a month a week. Yeah. So that I can put sides on my raft. Okay, but I'm not going to make this my goal. No, I'm not going to make the walls on my raft the goal. No, the goal is the bigger boat. So instead of setting my course for the 840, I'm going to set my course for 15,588 a month. And that's going to be a portion of the 25%. So look out in the comment section as to how I'm actually going to do that. And, appreciate you listening to me. If my dreams are reasonable, then I'm not dreaming big enough. So I believe this is a huge goal. And I like it. I like it a lot. And so now I'm actually going to write in the comment section how I propose to do that. So appreciate you watching with me. Appreciate you listening to me. Welcome aboard.